All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar for today, Getting to, From, and Around UAB, everything you need to know about transportation around campus. And today we are joined by Brian Atkinson. He's our Executive Director for UAB Transportation. And while we wait for more people to join us, both here on Zoom and live on Facebook, just a couple of housekeeping items. We will be, again, live streaming this on Facebook, and it'll be there for you to go back and look at it at your convenience, or if you have any questions. You also will be able to go back and see any of the webinars that we've already had. So if you haven't had a chance to see them, we've had about 8-10 of them. So go back and watch them at your convenience, invite your student, other family members, and let us know if you have any questions. And also our webinars will be posted with captions on our website, which is uab.edu/families, within the next week. So if you go into our website, again, uab.edu/families, and if you go into communications under the 2023 webinars, you can see all of the webinars we've already had, and you can go back and again, look at them. And so as we wait and invite more people to come on, I think we're good to go. And so, Brian, thank you for being here with us today. It's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Carmen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the University of Alabama at Birmingham. My name is Brian Atkinson, and I'm the Executive Director of UAB Transportation. So our role in your students' education focuses really on three important questions, which include: how do we get your student to UAB? How do we get your student around once they're here? And how do we get them home or wherever they need to go after finishing their day? Now, luckily, UAB is located in the heart of Birmingham, so there are already many options for getting around: walking, bicycling, taking the bus, ordering on-demand ride service, or of course, driving. Now, one advantage of attending UAB and how we're located is that students will not only learn about the latest transportation options and apps, they'll have the opportunity to learn how to access these apps and figure out which options are the best for the places they may want to go. Now, the fastest and most convenient most convenient way to get around UAB is going to be your students' own 2 feet walking. Now, UAB is mostly flat. The campus is less than 1.5 miles at its widest. And nearly every classroom, dining facility, and residence hall is within a half mile of the Hill Student Center, so about a 10 to 20-minute walk. Now, for cyclists, we provide bicycle racks located in nearly every building, with bike lockers available at the Lister Hill Library, available for rent through our office. Now, while not mandatory, UAB Transportation does offer free bicycle registration and provides a helmet and U-lock that those that choose to register with us. And you can do that on our website, which I'll give you the address in a little bit. I know I can't see you all, but I always do this during live presentations. I want you to at least mentally raise your hand if you've been on a bus, subway, bus, or other public transit anywhere in the world: New York, London, Paris, Chicago, anywhere. Now, keep your hands up if you've been on a bus in Birmingham. Now, when I do this live, it's right about that time that most of the hands go down. So I bring that up because you may be surprised to learn the multiple places that you can get to by public transit in Birmingham. One of the other new items that our local public transit is providing is the Birmingham Express. It is a local bus rapid transit, or BRT for short. And if you're unfamiliar with BRT, they operate mostly on dedicated lanes with signal prioritization to help them move more quickly through the city. And the idea is that the bus can get through the city faster than you could by driving alone. Now, if you haven't used our Max Transit, you may be surprised to find out that they operate multiple routes, reaching many major suburbs and popular destinations such as Summit, Lakeview, Botanical Gardens, and the Art Museum. Max Transit has a real-time app that can help you plan your trip. It's currently the My Stop mobile app. Now, we also have our own UAB operated free bus shuttle called the Blazer Express. And this is really important. These UAB buses run Monday through Friday. There's currently 6 routes that are that don't operate on like a fixed time schedule that many people are used to. So rather than coming at like 8, 8:15, 8:30, etc., our buses run in a constant rotation to help reduce the amount of time that anyone may have to wait at a bus stop. Now, you can find more about our routes and stops on the Blazer Express page of our website, but I also encourage you to download our real-time bus information app. You can find the app in the Apple or Google App Store, or by pointing your phone's camera or QR reader at the QR code available on the slide. This app provides students with information on the Blazer Express system with the ability to change the view to only show the route specific to their need. They can also identify the location of bus stops and see how long until the next Blazer Express bus arrives at their stop. Now, on-demand transportation are those requested to pick you up at a designated place or time and to take you to a specific destination. Birmingham On Demand provides a low-fare trip to many areas across the Birmingham area. Most people are familiar with like Uber, Lyft, and taxi services, and I'm not going to go into much detail about those other than to say they do serve UAB. Now, Birmingham On Demand works similar to those options, but with a limited area, and the rides are less expensive than the typical Uber, Lyft, or taxi ride. Now, shared micromobility is kind of a fancy name for transportation covering a short trip, typically used for trips of less than a mile. And these costs vary by trip, time, and provider. Now, micromobility in this case refers to the electric scooters and bicycles that are available for your students to use on campus. Again, on UAB, we provide our own on-demand transportation. So if you think about it, you've got multiple on-demand providers. You have the Uber, Lyft, and taxi that can give you can transport you across the entire region. You've got the Birmingham On Demand that can get you to many points across the city of Birmingham, and then you have UAB's provided on-demand transportation, which basically just covers the UAB footprint. And this is a no-cost on-demand van service to complement our Blazer Express bus service. Now, if your student has limited mobility, they should contact Disability Support Services to apply for Blaze Ride. And this will help them get around campus during the day. For late night travel on campus, we provide all students and employees a point-to-point service called Safety Escort. And during the Blaze Ride and Safety Escort hours, the rides may be requested by using the smartphone app that you see on the screen. The app allows your students to request a ride, receive an estimated arrival time, and get notified when the vehicle has arrived. Now, please note that both Safety Escort and Blaze Ride may also be ordered via phone, and the Safety Escort number is answered 24 hours a day. During the hours that Safety Escort isn't being operated through the app, that phone will forward to UAB Police Dispatch, so someone can assist you if there's an issue that arises. Now, I know many of you are concerned or interested in the parking at UAB. Now, please note you must purchase a permit to park off-street in UAB parking lots. Permits are ordered online through a portal on our website, and beginning on the dates shown, we just started our fall and fall-spring permit sales on June 1st. And students may order a permit once they've been accepted by UAB and created a Blazer ID. At that point, they'll be able to access the portal and check to make sure that the student subclassification is correct. So when they go into the portal, they'll either be noted as a housing resident or a commuter student. Make sure it's correct for your student. And the difference is a housing resident are those that are have a housing contract with UAB Housing and Student Resident Life. Any other student is considered a commuter student. So just make sure that's correct when you go in to order the permit. The portal will display all the options that are available. So our permits are limited in quantity and sold on a first come, first served basis. So if a particular zone, or if you're looking for a fall versus a fall spring, or a fall spring versus a fall, and you don't see that option available when your student is ready to order, then that means that there are no permits of that type available. So again, make sure that you've got the right subclassification for housing resident or commuter student. And then be careful when you're selecting the permit, determine if you're getting a fall or fall spring. And if you do not see the option that you're most interested in, please choose from what is still available. Now, once the student orders the permit, they'll receive a confirmation and the permit is mailed to the address you provide. So be sure to check the address to avoid the permit being shipped to the wrong place. We cannot replace a permit unless a new permit is purchased. So be sure to check that address, make sure we're getting the correct mailing address. And it's also important to know that the portal does not collect any payment for the permit at that time. Fees for the permit are applied to the student's account at the same place that tuition goes, just before the beginning of the term. It's usually the last few days before the first day of fall start. If your student needs to return a permit, refunds follow the same schedule as tuition refunds listed on the academic calendar. Please note, ADA accessible spaces are available at the same cost as other student permits. Your student will need to bring the appropriate ADA parking documentation to our office. The ADA registration must be in their name to obtain ADA parking access at UAB. We provide permits specifically for the ADA spaces in UAB lots. Students parking in ADA spaces without obtaining a UAB's issued ADA permit are subject to a citation. So it's really important, if your student needs that access, that they provide us the documentation so that we can get them the correct permit. They'll need to bring that to the UAB Transportation office. Now, you may be surprised to find out that we do not like giving out parking tickets. In fact, you are our customers and we want to try to treat you as fairly and have a positive experience as possible. Now, know that your student will never get a ticket from UAB if they park in their zone that they're with a valid permit in a legal space that is not marked ADA, carpool, or designated for some other purpose. For instance, we give out a lot of tickets each year for students parked in the drives, along curbs, and my personal favorite, in spaces that are marked no parking. So please let your students also know that the on-street parking is not managed by UAB. The on-street spaces are managed by the city of Birmingham, and fees may be paid using their parking app. To steal a joke from one of the orientation leaders, if you don't give them City of Birmingham money, you will receive a City of Birmingham ticket. Now, if your student ever does experience issues trying to find a parking space, by all means, have them contact our office. It is important because if a student does not have a space to park, we do need to look into it. Now, we will ask your students a few questions to help them find a space, and when necessary, can offer a temporary solution while we determine the source of the problem. When contacted, our very first question will be whether the student checked all of the parking areas within their zone. I want to point out there's a big difference between not having a place to park and not having a place to park in the most convenient lot of a particular zone. Another advanced warning, the first couple of days classes are always the most difficult for parking, but it will improve dramatically over the first few weeks. You know, we have a whole group of new students that are coming in every year. They're trying to determine their classrooms, their parking. Just tell them to plan in a little additional time the first few weeks, And then once everyone figures out where they're going, everything seems to settle down and move really rather smooth. Now, a couple other services and options I wanted to let you know about. If you or your student are on campus and need help with a dead battery, adding air to a tire, or with your keys locked in the car, we have a motorist assistance service known as MARS. If a student is considering not bringing a car to campus, or you haven't told them that they aren't going to get to bring one, these last few services, along with some of the ones I mentioned earlier, may be helpful. For anyone not bringing a car, the Commute Smart program is a local governmental service that provides rewards for students and employees choosing to get to work or class any way other than driving alone. Along with cash rewards, they can also provide emergency rides home. Now, any students coming from the Atlanta area, farther east, or through the Atlanta airport should know that Groom Transportation has a low-cost airport shuttle with a stop on campus. Birmingham also offers transportation via the Birmingham Airport, along with very affordable trips to many locations through various regional transportation providers. Now, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to learn about the transportation options at UAB. And please note, new services are coming online all the time, and our policies are constantly evolving. So as such, we ask that you please visit the UAB Transportation website for the most current information, and encourage your student to follow us on Facebook or Twitter to get the latest updates on information impacting transportation to, from, around campus. Thank you again for your time. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. That's very important information as students prepare to transition to campus. And we do have a question. Basically, it says when we will be receiving a physical copy of the parking permit.
Depending on when the or what type of permit it is, the housing permits are verified that the individual is a housing student prior to being mailed. So that usually takes place within a couple of days after it's ordered. The believe majority of the permit should be mailing out, I want to say by August 1st. I'll have to double check to make sure, because we try to get them mailed as soon as possible, but it usually takes a couple of weeks to make sure that we've got everybody sorted correctly.
Okay, great. So families, if you would like to submit any other questions, we have the Q&A section here on our Zoom. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, that's why I'm turning my head. We can also take your questions through Facebook. So please let us know. This is the best time, the great time. We have Brian here who will be able to answer your questions live in present time. And so that way you avoid having to worry about this part of the equation. So one thing that families sometimes ask is about, and we've had this conversation with Brian before, if they have to switch and bring another car, let's say their car breaks down and they have to bring another car, will the permit, cause a problem because it's registered to a different vehicle?
No, we do ask that the individual go into that same parking portal, and there is a section for vehicles where you can click on and add that vehicle information. But that just helps us to connect it back in case there's some kind of emergency or anything like that. But you can just take the hang tag and swap it from the one vehicle to the other.
Awesome. Thank you. So families, as we wait for a couple more questions, or if you have any other additional feedback that you would like to give us, please remember we have an additional webinar this afternoon. It is about UAB recreation. So if you can join us at 2:30, a lot of important information about how your students can stay fit and well. So join us then. And we've had several webinars already, so please go back and look at them. We have another question. It says, my student ordered his permit in June, but has not received the permit yet.
While we're waiting for more questions, I actually reached out to the manager over the student permits to try to get a more firm timeline of the permit ordering. But if you have ordered a permit, feel free to contact our office and we can give you some specific information about your permit.
Okay, and great. We have the information on the website, right on the screen right now, so you can call 205-934-3513 or email transportation@uab.edu. So great questions, because it's important as as families get ready. So
And I also tell, if you've ordered a permit and you haven't received it, I'd say 2 weeks before the semester starts, that would like, especially if you ordered before August 1st and you haven't received it 2 weeks prior to the school starting, that'd be a point I would definitely suggest you contact our office, because you should have received it by that point. And so we would need to look at specifics of make sure the address is correct, things of that nature, to see how we can best rectify it.
yes, and that's a key point. Make sure the address has all the
Yes.
information that is needed.
That's why I always say it in the presentations, because that does happen.
Yes, yes, yes. And again, if you ever have any questions, also you can reach out to our office, families@uab.edu, and we will be glad to connect you with transportation and help those questions get answered. So
Yeah, Carmen and her team are always great about just communicating with us. So
and transportation is amazing. They always get back to us really quickly in real time. So I'm also, so family members, if you would like to send us any additional questions, we're just going to give a few more minutes for any other additional questions. I am not seeing any now, but again, if you have any questions that come to mind later on or later today, or if there's something you want to go back and look at in the webinar, you can do so. It'll be live on Facebook, and in about a week, it'll be on our website with captions. Very important to note that little app for the transportation, for the Blazer bus, or it's very useful. I use it all the time just to know where the bus is. So if students, have a parking space and they need to get to a class, they can always hop on the bus, go to class, and then get back to their cars. It's a walkable campus as well. So your students are going to be getting to class and moving along and to and from very easily. So I don't see any other questions, Brian, right now. Is there any last minute tips that you would like to give our families?
No, just remind folks that, again, the first few weeks can be a little hectic. Every year we have to educate a whole new group of students about getting to, from, and around, and and I know, as a parent myself, there's always a certain amount of anxiety with that beginning. It'll be okay. We'll get them to where they need to go, and be happy to help them. So, thank you for choosing UAB, and we look forward to meeting your students.
One question that has come up before is, if a student, the unfortunate situation that a student gets a ticket, what's the process to solving that ticket?
I'm glad you brought that up. So it's important that they act quickly, because after 14 days that citation becomes past due, and then there's escalation fees on top of that, and we want to avoid all that. So if your student gets a citation and they don't believe that they should have received that ticket, they can go onto our website and appeal it online. And then what we do is to ensure that it's fair, we actually have an independent committee made up of students, faculty, and staff that review all those appeals and then provide us with a final determination. So they look at the policies that are on our website as well, and then look at the circumstances, and then that way we can make sure that that you're all being treated fairly.
Is there a time when a hold may be put on the account if students have a ticket?
Not typically. For the only time they'd have a hold on their account from citation if it's been left unpaid. So the citations after a while get sent to student accounting and added to the tuition. So if they let them build up over time, there's a possibility that they could have a hold show up. We don't typically have too many holds. If your student was to apply, register, and then transfer prior to the start of fall, then that sometimes can have some issues with the permit showing up on their account, but not too many of those. But we're
Okay.
always happy. It's not usually not too hard to track down. So if you've got your student's Blazer ID, we can look in all the circumstances surrounding it.
Okay, great. So this is all very important information. One piece of advice that I've seen, because I see students sometimes parking, is like you said, if it says no parking, do not park. And I know sometimes students are running late, or they had another class, or they're just running late, and usually they get into the first space that they find available. They need to check before they leave their car. I remember during Connect Fest, or just the first couple of days, Ask a Blazer, a student just running to class first couple of days, just stopped right under the sign that said no parking. And I was like, you don't want to park there. And he was like, I'm late. So they left, and I don't know what happened because I left, but
Yeah,
those are
well,
things.
I have my guess. What happened is they probably did receive a citation. The citations really are there to help educate people on two things. One, to educate them, what the parking regulations are. So we try to work with the students if they do end up getting a citation. But it's also to make sure that those that have actually purchased a permit have the space available when they arrive. And so, it's kind of an unfortunate way to have to educate folks, but it's really one of the ways. This is a college experience. This is new for them. One of the things is that time management and, just making sure they're planning. We know things happen. And again, we'll try to work with students, especially in unique circumstances that may arise. But we also ask them, like, if they're not sure, contact us, because we'll be more than happy to answer the questions and help direct them to a legal parking space.
Thank you so much. And this has been very helpful. So families, we're about to end our webinar, but again, if you have questions that come to mind later, you can email transportation@uab.edu or email us at families@uab.edu, and we will be glad to help you find the answers to your questions. Thank you, Brian, for being with us today, and we wish everybody a great rest of the day and a great weekend. Thank you.
Right. Thank you all.